What are some things that sound like compliments, but are actually insults? See you later. Not if I see you first. It took me so long to realize that phrase actually meant that if that person saw you first they would find a way to avoid you, so you don't see them. It blows my mind that I never realized this before now. As a director of high school theater, if a parent says it looks like everyone on stage had a good time, it means no one in the audience enjoyed this show. As a musician, I swear the worst thing you can hear after a set is it looks like you had a lot of fun up there. Woof. My mother is a gold mine for these. It is so nice you can focus on your newborn and not worry about what your house looks like. I love that you don't care what people think of you. Many others that have already been stated. I love that you don't care what people think of you. Thanks mom. It helps when I'm around you. An older gentleman I used to work with would tell people at work they were sufficient. I had a teacher comment on my report card that I was doing acceptable work. I had an A+. Anything involving the word brave. You are such an adventurous dresser. I wish I was brave like that. AWW, I love how you just wear anything. Thanks. It's really easy when you're comfortable with yourself. Even though it can be used as a compliment, more often than not I hear they are just a free spirit used as a subtle way of saying they make bad decisions. This happened quite a bit at my cousin-in-law's funeral. She was so passionate about everything she did. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind. She was such a free spirit, always doing whatever made her happy. She was a horrible selfish person who spent her last weeks making everyone around her miserable. It was kind of amazing to watch everyone suddenly decide that they'd always loved and admired her. Apparently I needed to vent. I apologize. You so beautiful that you could be a part-time model. The most beautiful girl in the whole wide room. Or like a high-class prostitute. High class. Something about being on top of the bell curve. I've heard, if you do your best and really reach your full potential, I think you might be able to reach the top of the bell curve. I love what you tried to do with your hair. It really brings out your inner you. I worked with a music producer who had to take a few gigs early on producing for young female singers who often were not very talented, but had a lot of money to give him for his work. Instead of lying to them when they'd ask for his feedback on each take, he'd say things like, "Wow, that was something. You really did your thing. That was so you." Now whenever I'm forced to politely react to people I don't like, mostly in the context of work, I always use one of the above if I'm unimpressed. Lol. Kind of related just because of music. I did marching band in college. Played trumpet. During full field rehearsal a director said that I was too loud. Next run through I just didn't play. Right after he told me whatever I did was perfect. I told him I just didn't play that time. He said, "Perfect. Keep doing that." I'd never been roasted so publicly. My dad thinks babies are inherently ugly, so when people show him baby pics or whatever he just says, "Now that's a baby." I had a woman at my last high school reunion tell me, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. You're so handsome now." Hey, better to have been ugly once, but handsome now than handsome once and ugly now. ///// Try ugly all the way for size. I'd rather not. Whenever someone shows you a picture of their newborn child you go, "Oh, it's so small." You can easily change the words, but essentially say the same thing and the meaning changes entirely. For example, if you raise your voice an octave or two, and then say, "Oh my gosh, look at the tiny little baby," it's suddenly perceived as cute. Or Latinas little tiny babies. Did I do it right? Before I retired, I was once asked by our department to write a non-lawsuit producing reference for a former employee of mine that I had a pretty low opinion of. I wrote that they always met my expectations. German reference letters are a gold mine for this. The law says that you must compliment the employee. So what do employers write? Things like this. Always tried to fulfill our expectations and failed. Great delegation skills. Made others do his work. Confident in his abilities. Arrogant know-it-all. Ability to assert himself. Has anger management problems. Empathy for colleagues. Tried to sleep with half the company. Strong sense for justice. Was agitating against the management. We hope he will be very successful in the future because he wasn't successful here. Semicolon. You'll be truly fortunate if you can get him to work for you. Nobody would be better. Removed. You look smarter than you are. You're about as smart as you look. Yours is perfect. I don't like them big anyway. This made me cross my legs in anguish. Damn, I looked down at my tits. Me too. It's a shame I'm a guy. Good thing you are pretty. It was a bit of an ongoing joke in my sorority that when someone would do or say something stupid, we'd say, "At least you're pretty." It was always meant in good fun and wasn't supposed to be malicious at all. We'd usually ham it up with a condescending pat on the head. Right after graduating, I said that to a woman who was in a group I was out drinking with in the new city I moved to. I even did the head pat. She hated me after that. Whoops. My sister and I usually use "Oh honey, you're not pretty enough to be that dumb" when we do something particularly bad. Anytime a compliment is followed by, "For once" or "For a change, egg, your hair looks nice for once." I once got told "You look good" for you. I'm sorry, but that's pretty funny. A lot of polite British sayings. To be honest, I've worked in a number of countries, and sometimes I have to remind myself that extreme understatement is burned into the bones of British culture to a much deeper depth than anywhere else in the world. That's very brave. What the fuck? I think that you're on the right track. You are a turbo moron, etc. There's nothing quite like biting British civility. How interesting equals you are incredibly dull. Fascinating equals how tedious. Delightful equals dreadful. Including email sign-offs. Kind regards equals I'm annoyed. Regards equals fuck you. My grandpa is famous for saying "You look good today." He's a funny guy, lol. I went in for surgery on my face and my granddad now is so excited when he says "You look pretty now." Can't even be mad cause he isn't trying to be mean. What kind of surgery? I'm surprised I'm attracted to you. I don't normally like short guys. My ex. When I first met my boyfriend's ex-mates, 3 said of them said "You look nothing like his ex-girlfriends. They were all thin and pretty. Thanks." Oh man, that's just being an asshole. Fuck them. A male friend of my sister once told her, "You know, if you had half a brain you'd be dangerous." Semicolon. That was 30 years ago, and she still can't figure out if it was an insult or a compliment. I think we know. Removed. At least you're pretty. When I worked in retail, my favorite one for rude customers was, "I hope the rest of your day is as pleasant as you are." That reminds me of my dad's favorite thing to say to waiters and waitresses, "I hope I'm the worst customer you have today." Anything generally that is to do with size or shape. Fat people don't like being called fat. Skinny people genuinely don't like attention drawn to it, etc. Wow, how much weight have you lost? You look so great now. Like a completely different person. Thanks. Had this recently from my manager. "You seem to do a great job with insert disorganized client's name here because you are so alike." Took me a couple of minutes to work that one out. That's a really great picture of you. It doesn't look like you at all. I was once told, "You're a little chubby, but you're a nice guy," and I'm still not sure exactly what was meant by that. Top 2. You clean up nicely. Code 4. You usually look like a slob. And the /r/expected Melanie. I love that you can just wear anything does not mean you look good in everything. It means I'm judging you for not giving a damn about how you look. It's cool that you're still following your dreams.